Well, it was always going to be a foregone conclusion. The way Shikhar Dhawan just paced the innings, and even though he got out, it was left to Livingston to hit a few big sixes, including a landmark six in the tournament. We'll talk about that in a while, but they were huge, and they, of course, took Punjab to a victory. They wish they'd had a few more at crucial stages in the tournament instead of the WL pattern, but that's the way it is. They won the game. They're not going any further, but it was a good way to finish going ahead to next season. 5 overs to spare, 4.5 to be exact, 160 chased down. It was 157 for 8 is what Hyderabad put on after winning the toss and deciding to bat first. Here we are looking back at this game number 70, the final bit of action in Maharashtra, Pune, Mumbai, 3 stadiums across it. I'm joined by 2 gentlemen who spent lots and lots of time during that. They've gone away from there right now. They're on the safe climbs. Well, the unsafe climbs of Kolkata as things stand.
Safe. It was anything but safe when we were flying in.
I changed it. I was trying to defend my city.
I know.
But Harsha, as you said on Cricbuzz Combox, there was no way we could see this happening. It was just a question of when, not if.
No. Well, I mean, I'll duly called it, duly said that Punjab can win it. I was going on the principle that they're 2 good finger spinners. And just look at what the finger spinners did today. Washington Sundar, national level, played for India, 2 overs 19 on the same pitch on which Harpreet Brar bowled so well. And Suchit, 4 overs 38. I thought those 2 with Markram and Abhishek, but he never used any of those. So their lead bowler was Fazlak Farooqi. So
it just shows you the difference in power. I think
true.
You know what I'm saying about a Johnny Bairstow and Liam Livingston.
Yeah.
Just the power that they possess to maybe just mistime the ball over the boundary compared to perhaps some of the Hyderabad batters that just don't have that quite same power. I mean, Bhuvi was expensive tonight. We don't see that very often either. Fazlak Farooqi, I think he's been a good find. I actually think he's done a good job. He's sort of probably been better than T. Natarajan, as far as a direct replacement for him. Romario Shepherd, sadly, that is one of the reasons why he's not picked up more often and he's not played more often. He can be a little bit hit and miss with either bat or ball, and tonight
his career economy rate is what, 10?
Yeah,
something
10 point something, 10.5, 10.6.
Career economy.
Yeah.
And he's been around for a while. You were saying that earlier,
Yeah, but it's like it's a Punjab Kings, Punjab performance that we kind of expect from them every second game.
Yeah.
But
that Livingston's a freak. Livingston's a freak. He's a freak.
But really
49 of 22. Yeah.
It helps, Harsha, because we were Dooley, Harsha and I were chatting on Cricbuzz Combox, and while I kept going on about Livingston, what he's potentially going to do, Harsha rightly pointed out to Shikhar Dhawan, who was actually playing the kind of innings that would allow the Livingstons, the Bairstows, the Rajapaksas, the Jitesh Sharmas to play freely.
Yeah, and Shikhar with Delhi was asked to up his strike rate, wasn't he? He was asked to up it when Ricky Ponting said, we need you at 135 to 140. In this team, Shikhar only needs to be 120, 115, 120 for his first 35 balls. You know, if he can bat till that 12th, 13th over, he can be 115, 120 because everything around him, if they want to play Rajapaksa, Livingston, Bairstow, they are, in general terms, I mean, Bairstow tonight, 23 from 15, Shahrukh, 19 from 10. He's almost going at 200. There's no issue around that if Shikhar wants to go at 115, 120. I don't think, in that side, that's okay.
Also, they were chasing 150, so that's okay.
If
they were chasing 190, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I thought his biggest contribution was he just took Suchit out of the game. As a left-hander taking down the opposition left-arm spinner, hit him for 2 sixes, and you see Suchit suddenly started pinging it flat, and there you are. He took him out of the attack. Just as I think Bairstow tried to do, and with some success against Washington early on. So it was very cleverly played. And I mean, you look down and say, what were they doing? Bairstow 23 of 15, Shahrukh 19 of 10. No, they were taking the game forward. There were partnerships happening all along. But this Livingston is something else.
Oh, man. He's just starting to show, and we've talked about it again in commentary a lot. This is his year. This is his breakout year. We knew. I've seen it. I've seen it in England. I've seen it in other tournaments. But the IPL had not seen it. You know, India hadn't quite seen why is he going for big money. I mean, really, seriously, is he that good? He is that good. He can win you a game from nowhere. He can take the game away from that. He's a guy that will score 100 off, 35, 40
as he has.
Yeah.
Where does he bat? Because he's opened the batting. He's played as a finisher at 6. I'm just thinking, Gautam, look at that. He's made 182 today. In that England lineup, where you've got Jason Roy, Joss Buttler, Johnny Bairstow, Moeen Ali, he can bat anywhere in the order.
I think 4 or 5.
Four.
I mean, that's a whole season for a guy who you think is a power hitter, right? Strikes at 182 across 14 games and scores 437 runs. That is a phenomenal season when you've got a guy striking at 180. Now, if you've got a guy striking at 180 who averages 25 and gets you 300 a season, you think you've had a pretty good year from him.
Absolutely.
He's over 400 at 180, batting in anywhere from 4 to 6. Phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll stay with him for a moment because for all the reasons that Harsha Bhogle and Simon Doull just mentioned, and about 85 other reasons, Liam Livingston is our Omnigel relief and recovery performer of the match. And I'd go so far and say for this franchise, performer of the entire season. Look at what he did today. 49 not out of 22 deliveries. Omnigel is India's #1 pain recovery gel brand. Not only gives quick relief, but also recovery from pain. No dud for fans. And I think it's very appropriate, Harsha, we should say that, because time and time again, you found the fans of Punjab were thinking, oh, we're losing wickets up front. We're going to lose this game. And where did the Omnigel relief and recovery come? From Liam Livingston.
And I think Punjab will look back at the season as an opportunity lost, because I thought they're a pretty good side. They found Jitesh Sharma along the way. I think he's a big find. They found him along the way. I don't think they looked upon him at the start of the season. But just look, there's Livingston, there's Bairstow. I think I probably should have got the best out of Shahrukh. I just think it's an opportunity lost for Punjab.
Yeah, and I think at that side, I think you look at next year and you just say, okay, a little bit more settled in Livingston finding his way. They realise now he's a I say it again, 3-dimensional. He does everything, right? He is a quality bowler, batter, and a brilliant fielder. So he does everything. Johnny Bairstow going back to the top of the order, I think was key for them. If Mayank can find a way to bat either at 3 or 4, Rajapaksa, yes, but now they need just maybe one more local bowler. If they can find one more quality local bowler, because they've got a lot of their power in their overseas at the top of the order. I think Jitesh has been one of the finds of the season. Yeah, quality, brilliant with the bat, very good. I mean, it's stumping. We just saw that stumping that when Harpreet Brar got Markram. Brilliant bit of work behind the stumps. I love the way he plays and times the ball. Arshdeep is going to become an international cricketer now. He will just get better and better. Rabada. They've got the makings of a quality side. Harpreet Brar needs to play almost all the games. They left him too late.
I also think in 10 months'
I think Harsha, we're finding a lot of reasons why Livingston was able to express himself, because he was part of a team that allowed him to do so. I mentioned one Shikhar Dhawan, but let's celebrate Livingston for a moment, given that we have given him that title of our Omnigel relief and recovery performer of the match and the season. So Harsha, really, you mentioned 360. Just for all our fans out there who don't have dud thanks to him, give us an appreciation of what Livingston brings to the table.
I'll tell you, I did a man of the match interview with him early on in the season. And I said, we hadn't seen the best of you yet in the IPL. And he sort of rolled his eyes and says, please don't remind me about that. It just told me how keen he was to do well here, but he didn't hold back. He continued playing his style that came the best to him. Dooley mentioned at the start, fantastic fielder. So when you're a 3-dimensional cricketer, if you have one off phase, you're contributing in some other phase. So Liam Livingston, fantastic. I expect in another 10 months for Odean Smith to become a better player. So I'm actually thinking if they can find an Indian to replace Rajapaksa,
right,
then Odean can come in at number 7 without the responsibility of bowling 4 overs, which he could on the odd day. And then suddenly you look at that side, is fantastic with Jitesh Sharma coming in at number 6 between these people.
And they probably only need, even if they could find another Indian all-rounder.
Yeah.
Because if you think about Rajapaksa at 3, Livingston at 4, Shahrukh at 5, Jitesh at 6.
Yes.
Odean at 7.
Yeah.
If they could find another Indian all-rounder, even who could bat, so Odean could move to 8.
Yes.
It's not a bad option, I suppose. They could go that way around.
I think they tried that with Rishi Dhawan to some extent.
But you want
I don't know.
Who can bat a bit more.
Yeah, I don't know if Rishi Dhawan is a number 7 in an IPL.
So many reasons to celebrate the team. Yes, an opportunity missed, but an individual who stood out head and shoulders above the rest. The off spin and the leg spin really does it for me. Six hitting is almost like second nature, but the fact that he can bowl two different kinds of deliveries to do two different players, outstanding. Our Omnigel relief and recovery performer of the match and season is Liam Livingston. He ensured there was no dud for Punjab fans, even if there was a little bit of dud of not qualifying, but they were able to finish and celebrate their season, their style, and their performer in style.
The dard today was elsewhere for Liverpool fans, and the dard was for Arsenal fans as Tottenham hammered somebody else. It was a great day to be a football fan. I mean, it was a good day to watch cricket today.
I thought we were going to get through the whole night without this.
You're going to lose Dooley very soon.
I thought we were going to get through the whole night without this. Where there was sort of about 80 minutes or 76 minutes of joy. And not joy Bhattacharya.
Yeah. No, he's busy in match party. He's busy in match
genuine
party.
joy. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk cricket. Cricket is so much better. It's a much better game.
Except when Champions League is on, but that's okay.
Yeah, next weekend.
We love it. We love it. We just like to digress from time to time, but we'll come back. We've celebrated Punjab, celebrated Liam Livingston, but what about Hyderabad? At the start of the season, there was Chennai, there was Mumbai, and there was Hyderabad who were faltering. Suddenly, they found a second wind. Win. And I remember at least on two of those shows, Michael Vaughan was on, and he had already given them an honorary cue in the top four, because he said it's Kane Williamson's way. They just know what to do. And yet, Dooley, what probably went wrong if you had to sum it up?
Well, their issue around, they're a very good side chasing 150, 160. That to me was their whole season. When they chased 150, 160, they were a very good side. When they bowled first and restricted sides, no problem at all. When they had to chase 190, 200, or when they had to score 190, 200 on very good pitches, they were just found wanting. They have found a couple of things, I think, this season, in particular, Markram and Puran. I think that partnership in the early part and in those 5 wins was crucial to them. The two openers, I think, have a little way to go, and that they've got some promise. So I think they've found that out a little bit. Maybe Kane has to go to number 3 if he's going to continue captaining the side next year.
If you got Tripathi, Markram, Puran,
well,
where does Kane bat?
6. Becomes an honorary captain and bats at 6. Or
you've heard it from another Kiwi, so we won't complain.
Or Nicholas Puran captains. And maybe it releases a whole lot of money for them. I don't know.
Or, as you said, he plays a lot of good cricket and comes back in good form and becomes the Williamson that we know.
Correct.
If he becomes the Williamson that we know, then suddenly you're thinking, right, Williamson, Abhishek Sharma has been one of the finds of the season, even though he's been around, but when he moved up. And then suddenly you're thinking Tripathi, Markram, Puran, if they can have good seasons, then you're looking at a pretty decent top 5.
Yeah, and then Umran Malik obviously has been another find of the season. Bhuvi's sort of had a resurgence.
Faruqi might come back.
Faruqi, I think, has really come along leaps and bounds. He certainly doesn't look like he's out of place in this league whatsoever. I think they're missing maybe missing a quality overseas all-rounder type bowler. I just don't think Romario Shepherd has cut the mustard for them. And over the years, you think about the guys they've tried. Billy Stanley. I go back to Billy Stanley and guys they've sort of tried to get in their mix over the years. They want to find do they release a couple and go heavy for a Stark or a Jameson or someone like that next year in a mini auction?
They had a Jason Holder as well, and he showed his worth towards the end of the season.
That was last year, yes. When he came in as a replacement. I remember meeting him there and said, no replacement next year. He said, no, man, I want to be in the auction.
And Janssen had a couple of good games, didn't he? And they thought he was going to be that guy, but he went off the boil after going for 63, 64 in one game. So, Janssen, Romario Shepherd, Sean Abbott, they just haven't quite found a steady player, a really top quality player in that lot, which has probably been one of their issues, along with the real issue of Kane Williamson's runs. That's been their biggest issue problem.
You look at most teams and say, okay, what is it that Indian players cannot provide? So you tend to, even if you play 2 overseas batsmen, you play 1 overseas fast bowler, but that big hitting all-rounder in between. Now, Romario Shepherd could have been that person if he does, like Odean Smith, doesn't have to bowl 4 overs. But because they had Kane Williamson and Markram and Pooran started to play well together, they didn't have room for Romario Shepherd. They didn't get that person in an Indian player. The seam bowling all-rounder today is the only aspect where India still doesn't have enough inventory.
Two questions to finish very quickly. How much did they miss a Rashid Khan, given the impact that he had? And two, given that Kiwis are generally very affable individuals, what did Glenn Phillips do to not get into an 11, Dooley?
Well, I think Glenn Phillips was a direct replacement for Kane. If Kane decided to step down for a game or two. So I was a little bit surprised that Phillips didn't get an opportunity, but they probably felt that they found their two openers and the new combination in the previous game when Kane decided to bat at 3 or even further down the order. So I guess that was the one issue around that. What was the other question?
Rashid.
And I noticed you didn't say Warner.
Yeah. You're always going to miss. You're always going to miss. Well, they couldn't keep both.
Yeah.
If they had the opportunity, they're always going to miss Rashid Khan. You miss a guy that bowls a season of overs and goes for less than 6.5. You always miss that guy. You're 4-over banker. You can't help but miss him.
Yeah, well, obviously it was not a straightforward as just saying we don't want to retain you. Plenty happened off the field, so we'll leave it at that. He is now in a franchise who are on top of the tree and looking to take a title in their debut season, a bit like the Rajasthan Royals, but that was debut for everyone. Shikhar Dhawan, Harsha, you touched upon him. I think if we look at Punjab's positives throughout the season, we've already talked a lot about Liam Livingston, but Shikhar Dhawan's consistency, and he's done it everywhere.
And I'm glad you put that graphic up. I wasn't sure you're going to put it up straight away. Look what's happened since 2018. You look just before 2018 and you start to think, he's scoring 115, 120. He was giving you 350, 400 runs. And look, if your opener is going to give you 500 runs season after season, and on an average, he is giving you 500 runs on a season over the last 5 years, that is fantastic. And especially if he can end the season at a strike rate of about 130. If you can end the season at 130, 500, then you've got the opener. Now it's another 10 months. But 10 months, Shikhar is still an active player. He's still pretty fit. I see him coming back and performing strongly next year.
Yeah, I think any other positive you'd like to pick out from Simon from Punjab? We've talked Livingston, Shikhar Dhawan, someone from the bowling department.
Ashdeep. Yeah, big. Man. I'm a massive fan of Ashdeep Singh. I think his simplicity, I think he's got a little bit more pace than he had last year. He's been rewarded with selection in the India squad. I think his Yorkers, I don't know that there's been a better Yorker bowler in the tournament. I'm not sure there's been a better death Yorker bowler in the tournament than Ashdeep. Predominantly nails them. I think I just like the way he goes about his work. I think he's a 100%er time and time again, and I hope he transfers what he's done here, because he's not a new kid anymore. So he's had time at the domestic level. He's had 5 years now, I think, maybe at IPL level. So he deserves a shot at international level, and I hope he does well. So he's certainly been a real positive for me. Just the 10 wickets, but look at that economy. He bowls up front and he bowls at the death.
Overs, yeah.
He bowls the tough overs every time in the power play and at the death. Now, if he's going for less than 8, bowling 4 overs in the toughest times, he's doing a great job. And remember the runs that were scored in the first 3 quarters of this tournament. Yeah. We were talking 180s to 200s every time.
Some 200s were chased down.
Absolutely. And you got a bloke going at under 8s, bowling the tough overs. Oh, terrific.
All I would tell Arshdeep in the off season is that if you're a single skill player, then if you have a bad day, you don't have a second skill to make yourself valuable to the side. I don't know how serious he is about batting. Even if he's batting at 9 or 10, suppose he's going out with 10 required of 4 balls or 5 balls. Yeah. Can he do the 10 required of 5 balls? That's all I'd ask him to work on and try and become a gun fielder. Everybody in the game has to be a gun fielder today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things we've seen, I think, on both sides of it. The one brief name we mentioned on the opposite side wearing orange was Umran Malik. He's got a lot going for him. Dooley, he's got the pace. Obviously, we want the variety from him. But like Harsha mentioned about Ashdeep, you also want to whisper to Umran Malik, get a batting coach in there in the 11.
Yeah, a batting coach, fielding coach. I mean, Harsh is so right about, look, there is no excuse to not be very good at 2 things in this game. If your batting wanes a little bit, or if it's not quite, as it should be, I get that. You can try and improve it. You can get to the point where you can keep out the quick bowlers. You can play. You can take ones off the spinner. You can bat for the guy at the other end, or you find yourself a little bit of power. But there's no excuse not to be able to field and catch for any of these young men.
And we saw two of those, didn't we? We saw Imran Malik dropping a sitter, and we saw Fazal Haq Faruqi hoping the earth would swallow him up. When he went round and round and ended up conceding the 4.
No excuses for that. If you're going to be you've got to do two things very well, and if you can add that third skill to a slightly lesser amount of ability, I think you've done well. Just one more mention. I think it'd be remiss of us not to mention KG Rabada.
I was about to
and again in the top 5 wicket takers of the tournament, time and time again he stands out. He's the leading seamer in the top 5 wicket takers.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because last
really
year
good.
he was taking quite a few. Last year he was taking wickets at the end as well.
Yeah.
But I still think Rabada, almost like Shami, if you can bowl him 2 up front, 1 in the middle, but not leave him to 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a thought. But he's a great bowler. So
that's terrific.
Probably, I'm glad Harsha mentioned Shami in there, because in the last time we had a discussion about a lot of Indian bowlers, Shami's name came up last. Probably because of the way they go about their work. Kagiso Rabada, Mohammad Shami, they kind of quietly slip aside. They pick up the wickets. They're in that leaderboard, but don't get talked about, because there's no flamboyant performance. There's no 155 that we're thinking of. There's no celebration that
Fair point,
you start
actually.
writing about.
Fair point, actually. How many wickets did Rabada take this year? 22, 23, something like that? I mean, we've talked so much about Hasaranga. We've talked so much about Imran Malik. And he's saying, excuse me, but I took Chahal.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I took 22 wickets too.
Yeah.
Exactly, and he'll come quietly and say it in his Afrikaans accent, and if you don't hear it, he'll probably walk away and sit in the dressing room. Never mind, I'll go ahead and do my job. But we have 4 teams. Punjab aren't going to be there. Hyderabad aren't going to be there. We've got 4 teams who have booked their places. They've booked flights to Kolkata after the weather's done its job. They'll probably be on far smoother flights than Harsha and Simon Doull were. But Gujarat, Rajasthan, Lucknow, Bangalore. Gentlemen, expectations from Gujarat versus Rajasthan, particularly Rajasthan, Harsha, who fought to get that extra bite of the cherry.
Rajasthan looked the more rounded side than Gujarat. They've got big players as well. I mean, Samson fires on the day, but they've got Butler, who's a big player. Hetmeyer's been another who's gone, I think, a little under the radar. Hetmeyer's been fantastic for them. Padikkal's come back a little bit. Then Ashwin, Chahal, they've got a really good side. Trent Bolt, probably the best power play over him and Shami. So they've got a lot going for them. But I'm not sure. I mean, Gujarat Titans, I didn't think they'd come so far, but can they keep the run going in a knockout situation?
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to fall over. Yeah. I keep waiting.
And they're not so far.
And they're not falling over. I was asked the other day to pick my winner, and I picked Rajasthan prior to the last sort of, it was about a week ago. I was asked to pick my winner of the tournament, and I picked Rajasthan. I just thought that they had, I felt if Butler gets back into some sort of form, which he didn't again the other night, and that's what worries me, because he looked awful the other night. The way he got out was just un-Butler-like. But I just felt that if he found another gear for the last couple of games, I just felt that they had, like Harsha, the most well-rounded side, 2 quality spinners, one of the best new ball bowlers, providing they use Trent Bolt accordingly with 3 up front if he's going well, and then 1 in around about that 12th over, not save him for the death.
And the fact that Obed McCoy has come back.
Yeah, Obed McCoy's been really good.
Fantastic.
They've left Kuldeep Sen out. I think they've got another option there if they need, with Prasid Krishna going well. So, yeah, look, I mean...
Saha's, Saha's hamstring.
Yeah.
Hamstrings don't heal that quickly. So if Saha's not around, then they've got to find someone in his place already. So it looks like that, and who knows, suddenly Shubman Gill will come and hit 152 something. Suddenly Matthew Wade will decide, you know what, I can make 40 of 22 balls. It's been that kind of team, Gujarat Titans.
Where's their squad? I mean, if we, I'm sure we've got their squad there, but let's say Saha's out and Wade has to go back to the top.
Yeah.
And open with Shubman Gill, then what do they do in the middle order? Which Indian player
Abhinav
do they
Manohar.
bring? Manohar?
They can go back to
Abhinav Manohar. Yeah. Maybe they go back to him in the middle order if really Pops is not fit. So it's I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it makes them. I mean, he's been the standout.
Yeah.
He has changed. I wouldn't say he's changed the season because they were good before that, but I mean, he's basically played so well that it's allowed the rest of that lineup to be okay.
Yeah. But I like the analogy from Simon Doull when he said, you expect them, or not that you want them to, but you're expecting them at any point to fall over, like those dolls that you punch that have a high center of gravity. Every time you hit them, they pop right back up.
Yeah. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
I didn't have anything else to demonstrate that with. But I'm going to quickly ask you about expectations from the other game. Dooley, I'll start with you. Two teams coming in with vastly different mindsets. Lucknow was sitting there pretty first and second. Suddenly, whoops, we're down to third. And Bangalore was sitting there. We're not even there. We're having a party in the team room, and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, so you got a team who's coming in without many expectations, who probably, I mean, as they've all said, every interview we've done, we felt we were good enough to be in the top four, Bangalore. Yeah. We felt we were good enough to be there. You know, we thought we deserved to be there. They didn't play well enough to get there. In the end, they relied on someone else to get them there, up against what I think is the best seam bowling attack in the competition. I think in the three men, in Avish Khan, Mohsin Khan, and Dushmantha Chamira, is the best seam attack as a group of three in the competition. What do they do around that? They haven't got the best out of Holder, Stoinis, or Krunal with the ball just yet. If they can,
and if Bishnoi starts
to bowl well, then they bat to 7, even 8, and they have got a quality bowling attack. So they to me are the other side that threatens Rajasthan, threatens my sort of selection. To me, GT are the team.
I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking who are the big game players. Rahul is a big game player. Quinton de Kock.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the only two openers to have 500 plus. Who's the big game player? Faf du Plessis is a big game player. When the pressure goes up, Faf du Plessis is there. Is Kohli's innings the sign of more, or was it just a one-off redemption?
Yeah.
If it's a sign of more, then beware everybody, because if he could be an individual match winner. What about Glenn Maxwell? So I'm just thinking RCB because they've got these individual game changers. Maxwell's played in many finals. DK is vastly experienced. So that is the only reason I think that RCB might threaten. Whereas Lucknow have been sort of very placid. They've gone at a pretty good level. They've played at a very high level, and they've just gone beautifully like that. Whereas RCB have been like this. What if Lucknow catch RCB here? That's the only.
Yeah. Well, by personal theory, to add to all of that, other than the fact that at the start of the season they were the team I picked to win, was that anyone who gets in via the back door, if you enter a house from there, the owners don't know you're there. You're going to win that game. RCB to beat Lucknow.
That's a very interesting one. Okay. Well done. Okay.
But yeah, they really didn't. They really shouldn't have been there, and they found their way there, and with a little help from a couple of other teams. But we will, of course, look back at what's happened in the tournament so far. There's a reminder what time it's coming to you. It's coming to you at... it will come at some point in time. There it is. Yes, 5 o'clock on Monday, the 23rd of May. League stage review with Bhattacharya, Kapoor and Bhogle. And if you want to look ahead, we have a very special Hindi preview coming to look ahead. Playoff Par Nazar with Tanay, Parthiv Patel and Virender Sehwag. At 7 o'clock on the 23rd.
Is Viru going to talk about Shoaib again? Or Viru is so box office, man. Viru is so box office.
That's why we love him. If you predict what he's going to talk about, he wouldn't be box office. Yeah.
Viru versus Shoaib, in the war of words, I know who's winning.
All right, Harsha. Today's Joy Factor question. I'm taking a back seat. Give us the question again. Tell us.
Actually, I don't know if it is right. I think it is.
Give it a try.
Okay, I'll guess.
Come on.
I'll guess. Look, a blood donation camp in his name in an Indian city, I thought it was Frank Worrell in Kolkata, where we all are at the moment. A 6th to win a major tournament is Carlos Brathwaite. An artist with Grammy Awards is Rihanna. Right now, Brathwaite and Rihanna are classmates. I don't know if Sir Frank Worrell. It's the same school. Yep. Joy is going back to school.
Yes.
He's got all these cool things.
Combermere.
Yeah.
I didn't know the name of the school. I didn't know the name of school, and I didn't know whether Sir Frank Worrell went to that school. But isn't it an incredible story that when Nadi Contractor was serious and critically ill in hospital and waiting for a brain surgeon to fly in from Trinidad, Frank Worrell was sitting there at night and he gave blood for Nari Contractor. And in his honor, in Kolkata, they have a blood donation drive. Does it still happen?
Yeah, well, I haven't heard of it for a while, but when I last
Incredible.
noticed it on that particular day, it was still happening.
Incredible.
Amazing. Can we end on a lighter note?
Okay.
Because our good friend Brendan Julian, you know Brendan Julian, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Brendan Julian was in the Caribbean presenting for his national television channel, and they were playing West Indies Australia for the Sir Frank Worrell Trophy. And Brendan Julian stood up at the end of the presentation and he said, "I'd like to present the Sir Wank Worrell Trophy to the West Indies captain." And so now what happens is that Brendan and all of his 12 mates or 11 mates play a golf tournament every year for the Sir Wank Worrell Trophy. So I'm so sorry to end on that note, but this is what happens to us sometimes in commentary or in the spur of the moment. We just get our letters mixed up and our words mixed up. So Brendan Julian will be forever remembered for that very moment.
I'm just trying to imagine trying to keep a straight face in the com box.
If all I've heard about Frank Worrell is true, that he would probably have led the laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like Brian Johnston leading the laughter.
Yes, correct.
Bowlers holding
With Mr. Diamond Soul.
Willie. Dear, we can talk about so much here, but thanks to Sir Forrell, we've actually not mentioned our winner. So let's get our winner in there. And our winner, there you go. Oh, I can't even play with his name because he's got an S in both. I thought if he was like something with a different letter, we would have swapped the letters. Suryansh, it had to be you today. I can't even do anything with your name, with all due respect. Suryan Setia, well done. You've picked up a few of these and some hardcore ones in the past. Joy giving a thumbs up. Smug smile on his face. I did it thanks to Sir Forrell. Well,
but smug and smile are the same.
I know.
Smug and smug.
Suryansh Setia. Okay.
Gautam Bhimani.
Diamond Soul. So from Diamond Soul, Harsha Bhogle and Gautam Bhimani. There you go. We can have a bit of fun here. It's been a wonderful season. Season's not over, of course. The playoffs are to come, but the league stage is done. We've had a great part of Cricbuzz Live in the company of Dooley and Harsha and so many others in the panel. There's still more to come. We've talked about what's coming up tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll be there on time for Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. On behalf of all of us and the entire hard-working backroom staff on Cricbuzz Live, for the last time in the league stage, it's good night.